Sweet. So stoked. I just wanted to make a video to show what I've been thinking about with the foundation for Bill. I wanted to talk about what I suppose what's the purpose of setting up the foundation, why I decided to try and do it, who helped me along the way. And the idea is, I guess, when Bill passed, it's shown me that he needed things that we don't have in our communities. The first thing would be the brain health and the best treatment he could source. So we want to try and provide that. A community where he might have been able to find purpose and identity in, and obviously anyone that takes their life through suicide needs support with their mental well-being. So there are 4 components that I'm going to talk about in this video, and they're probably 4 things I've been thinking about a lot the last few months. So what would help Billy to be alive with us today, and what would he need? What would he say he needed if he was here today? So hopefully I can try and talk about what I've been thinking the last few months and how that process has been going. And that's how I want to start, with growing the community around myself and Greg and the people that we've met that have had injuries through brain damage, accidents, and the things that we've learnt from the injured, doctors that we've been speaking to, and if we can bring a community around the foundation or Billy Guyton United, that's the plan. So next Wednesday, on the 4th of December, I want to have just like maybe a soft opening, so a beginning evening where I guess people can speak about what they have in mind for the foundation, or what they think Billy would believe and want to have provided for the community. And over the next few days, including this video, I'll try and put down my thoughts and ideas on a couple short videos, and then just see where we get to. So next Wednesday, if anyone's keen to come along, something like 5:30 to 7:30, we'll have a bit more of an idea of what we want to achieve, and just start that process as people that attend and want to contribute. Cool. So some things I wanted to talk about. Bill, we were close friends when we played together in the Marcos. It was about 6 years we were really good mates for. Some things that drove me to do this foundation for Bill was his character was super admirable. He was always honest to who he was. He put his best foot forward. He did his best for the team that we're involved in, and he was always like that. He did his best for his family and friends. So his character was something I really admired, and his work ethic to our rugby team, to his community, his family and friends around trying to support others. And then he carried that on with his rugby coaching and his compassion and stuff for what was going on in this day and time. It was really cool to see continued after we'd probably hadn't spent as much time together, and he even became more of himself in that manner. So the foundation is basically to set up, like I said, something for somebody like Billy. Just to get an idea of what Billy was like, this was some of his writings out of his diaries I've been reading. So I love this game, but more I would love to help each other, each one of yous, grow as men. I will bring our self-awareness to a high level, so So then we understand ourselves and each other. So that was Bill. He was coaching his players as though he wanted them to grow as people before the sport, and I think that's what he wanted to help people with in the community. And he admired young kids and young teenagers and men and trying to help them find their identity. So I just chucked that in there for people to get a bit of an idea of what Bill was like. If I can move this thing. And another one of his writings was his risks, my risks, getting overwhelmed with everything you have on your plate. Step back, write down what's important, list what's most important, and have the highest impact. So in one of Billy's recent diary writings was how he was dealing with being overwhelmed in general life, and how I sort of interpreted this as how I can feel when I've been too busy with work and having concussion problems. So how can we provide as a community something for people to manage these risks? And how can we provide a service that people can help improve their health physically and mentally? So if they've had concussion problems, they can manage that better. So the other part is why I'm chucking this up is because I think, Billy needed somebody to speak for him in terms of being understood how he was with his concussion. And a lot of people in our country need that, and brain damage is a common thing. And I've spoken to probably 10 or 20 people just around through Christchurch, around Nelson, a few down south, but through friends and family that myself, Billy and Greg have known. So the hub is for that, to speak for people that don't quite have a voice but are struggling with concussion problems. So hopefully that gives you a bit more of an idea about what Billy was like briefly as a person. He was cool. This is me. So over the last year and a half, I've been worn out. So this first picture has been, I took this picture using Greg's hyperbaric chamber. So I've been sitting in that for the last sort of 8 to 9 months, I think, 2 hours a day. And it's only been the last month that I haven't used it as much. But before that, I was non-stop every day. 2 hours is a long time of your day, if you could think about that. So you can get an idea of what it's like to have concussion. So without that chamber, I'd say I'd be nowhere near as clear in my head or as healthy as I am. So I'm grateful to Greg. And this one on the right here is I did a sleeping protocol from September to December in 2023, where I was in bed 5 times a day, sleeping between 30 to 45 minutes 5 times a day, and then back in bed at 10 o'clock at night, something like that. So I was sleeping a lot just to reduce the inflammation and symptoms I was having. So I guess I understand what it's like to have long-term concussion problems, and I want to sort of hopefully give people hope that you can come right. And we want to sort of provide the services and hopefully help people navigate to better clinical help and treatment through the Billy Guyton Foundation. So I did a lot of hyperbaric chamber, a sleeping program for 6 weeks. I've been managing my sleep and nutrition really well with carnivore and supplements through the Chiro Clinic in Queenstown and Wanaka. I've had some blood tests done that I've got to check out what the results for those this week. And I'm doing some brain neuroplasticity training coming up. So I'll talk about that at a later date. But I guess this slide is just about, it takes a long time to come right from concussion symptoms. And if you go through stressful periods in your life, like I've been a bit stressed out the last year with Billy's passing, then you're susceptible to having symptoms again and your health can go downhill. So I think that, I suppose myself, wanting to set this up and be a voice for Bill and hopefully for others, that I just chuck that in to show people that I think I can understand and relate to those that have had injuries. And obviously I've had a whole heap of help from Bill's family. So his mum and dad, his sisters, his wider family letting me into their lives, when his grandparents, when a friend of your grandson or son passes, I think it can be hard for people to open up to somebody about the guilt or regrets you have as a family member, or wishes you wished time that you missed, and things that you've wanted to say to Bill, or things like that we won't get a chance to do again. So to let someone into your family, I've been incredibly thankful. And without being able to understand Bill from his family members' perspective and close friends, I wouldn't have been able to probably get the courage and motivation to set this up. So through conversations and understanding what was going on with Bill, way more than I could have found out without the help of his family and friends, the foundation probably wouldn't have been able to get underway. So I'm really grateful for his family and friends. I've just spent a couple of days sort of thinking about some values for the Billy Guyton United or Billy Guyton Foundation. So values that reflect hopefully myself and the people involved, and we want to have these values, which would be potentially these values, they're just ideas at the moment, but we want to have values that people outside of the community can see are valuable and want to be a part of it. So Bill was pretty proud Māori man, and I find myself quite connected to my culture. So I want to have just a little bit of the language through our values. These values are based on Billy, what I think Billy needed, and what Billy had written in through his diaries, and what were his qualities that he valued the most. So, and also this first value here is from the Parihaka Iwi, the story behind Parihaka, where they retained their peace and integrity when they were overtaken by the English, I think, 1,500 soldiers that took over Parihaka back in the day. So the Maunga Aronga, Mountain of Peace, it's the mountain represents stability, security, and a multiple of people and things. So it's like basing the community around something that's long lasting, as in a mountain, and of peace, where peace is for the individual and the community that's involved with Billy's Foundation. And if we can reach as progress, as you walk up a mountain and you progress to that inner peace or outward peace, that's what we want to try and achieve. So retaining that peaceful state as a community and a charity is what I think the number one value could potentially be. Whakaroa pai, to think, to reflect, to consider the good. So our thought of what we learn, to think about past events or actions or conversations you've had, and to reflect on this thought and thinking process, to be sort of independent in your thought. I think that's an important value for people to retain. And then to consider the good around our interactions and what we hear throughout society, where we fit into that, always try and consider the good. So the third one, hoatu I te mahi, hoatu I te whakaati, given service, offering humility. This was a big one that I think, speaking to Mel Bosman, Billy's close friend and coach with the Marco Girls, he was incredibly humble in his relationships, his connection to the wider community in rugby and outside of rugby. So I think a big thing I've learned since Billy's passing is about what is our career or life choices, how do we make these decisions, what's really important. So I suppose me experiencing that over the last year, it's given me a new perspective about what I could probably pursue. And giving in service is something Billy really strived to do. And then to hoatu I te wakaiti is offering humility. So what is our intention behind giving in service? Is it for me? Is it for something I'm trying to do personally, or is it for the greater good? So offer without expectation, offer to give, to present, to improve somebody else without having intentions behind your actions that are for personal use. Ringaropa, motuhaki, and manawaroa. Hardworking, ringaropa means callous hands. So it's hardworking, grassroots type of value. It's hardworking in thought, intellectually, physically, and spiritually. So it's not just about digging holes and going hard, it's about different aspects of your work. Motuhaki is independent, sovereign, individual that's free thinking. Manawaroa, resilient in spirit. So how well connected to your identity and sovereignty are you when there's distractions about things in life? So resilient spirit can be something outside of us. How connected are you to what your faith is or what you believe in? So yeah, that's just what I've put down over the last couple of days. I'm super open to people having input, and I'll speak to Bill's family and close friends about what they think of this. So looking forward to any thoughts on that. The pillars, as in like the po in Māori language, just four as in the corners of a building on top of a foundation holding up a roof, something that's you can rely on when the ground's shaky. What are our po or pillars for the foundation? So there's four components: optimize physically, and that will be related to brain health; attain mental well-being, which is, I suppose, our relationship personally with friends, family, and the community; search for purpose within ourselves, our career, life, and family and community; and then strengthen identity of yourself with different ideas about what you should be, what we think others should be, how can we find ourselves in all the distraction that's going on at the moment. Who are we? How can we find a strong foundation and have a strong identity in front of all the varying opposing views? So just for examples of what the pillars we want to create with the community. So I guess these are just ideas that I've had where the community can help provide these four pillars for somebody that is engaged with the foundation. So it does show how strong the community will need to be with having, for instance, like the brain aspect optimized physically will be, hopefully, if we can continue to talk and work with some of the really forward thinking and leading medical clinicians in New Zealand that aren't sort of biased towards anybody. They're just looking for the best science and the best up-to-date information. So we want to try and connect with those types of organisations and doctors, as well as foreign organisations and clinicians outside of New Zealand, where we can gain a lot from. Attaining the mental well-being is a key component that I think has been a little bit tough for me to think about, but if I can just look at, so these are 12 components taken out of the Jordan Peterson 12 Rules for Life. So attaining mental well-being. So I'll just talk about this: get your house in order before criticizing others. I think that for me, this has been a really good learning to focus on the last couple months, or basically the last year. So for me personally, to do this, I've had to probably let go of a lot of things that I can't control outside of my own bubble, but I wasn't happy with it. So it's easy to criticize, I guess, but for me to make change, change and do it in the right intent with the right spirit. I suppose I need to make sure I let go of any past grievances. It's pretty tough when you see your close friend, go through things that he had to go through without people understanding and helping, where in my perception I think that that's their role with our medical system and some of the things I've said online about New Zealand rugby. But I guess for me to help change and do it positively, I have to let that go. So get your house in order before criticizing others. This has been a big mental shift for me the last couple months, and I'll talk about the reasons that I've been able to do that. And then number 11, accept that inequality exists. I wanted to talk about that one because this is a big thing for Bill. I felt like with his suicide, his passing, he felt in a lot of ways that the world he's seen didn't reflect what his values were. And for a lot of us, that's the case. So how can we find the framework in our lives, in our perception, in our mental well-being to accept that the world's not entirely fair? There's going to be things that we disagree with. We're going to have, I guess, grievances, or we're going to have guilt about the past and what things look like. But trying to accept that is the way forward. And then if you're still passionate about what you are feeling, try and find ways to make positive change. So attain mental well-being. All these will be different, but hopefully people that are in the community with this community hub can help people navigate what they need. So it could be any medical practitioner or a counsellor or a health coach or something like that. It could be just a conversation with someone that's had concussion issues like myself or Greg. So searching for purpose and strength and identity is basically what I was saying about. What can I say about searching for purpose? For me is, I guess, I've known over the last 7 years that I've been pretty disappointed with some of the ways we get treated with concussion issues, being an ex-rugby player and then seeing how the public system is dealing with brain damage from rugby or accidents in the public. So my purpose has been found and really motivated by Billy's passing. that was the Billy's passing and understanding what he'd went through is 100% the reason why I'm speaking here and set up the hub. And I hope that within the community we can help provide pathways for people to find their purpose, and it will be related to strengthening any individual's identity through what their values are, what they believe in, on the basis of good awareness and hopefully good mentorship, types of community members that we can help find and be led by. So Mel, Billy's friend, really close friend, I caught up with her the other day about the Billy Guyton United values. That's the foundation. What are our four core values we want to try and act as an individual and have people relate to us in that way, or community members that value those principles and believe in them, they want to be a part of that. And then the four pos around physical, mental, purpose, and identity. How's that holding up this overarching roof of support, which this could be, the roof is based around, I guess, in Māori culture, it's ancestors, past loved ones, and your relationship to your friends and family. For people that have different faiths, it could be a transcending belief like God, Jesus, or different beliefs. But I think just to make somebody whole as in united, we need to find values that align with the practical steps to go forward, and then that needs to be reaching. Well, ideally, we have a higher purpose that can help guide us. So that's going to be different for everyone. But I guess I just wanted to show the basic steps of what I'm trying to think about, and it's stuff that everyone probably has. I think because I've never set up a charity, I've never set up a community group or organization. It's just good for me to get this out and just have you see what I'm thinking about. This was Mel's idea about integrating multiculture into the community hub. We can develop on this, I guess. Billy Guyton United Vision, just some thoughts about sort of encompassing the four pillars. So to empower individuals to harmonise their physical and mental well-being, cultivating a profound sense of purpose and embracing their authentic identity in life. So hopefully that this statement can just integrate what we're trying to achieve physically and mentally, and help people find their purpose through their authentic identity. It's super simple, I think. There's a lot of detail in that vision, but just to keep it really basic, if you are able to do this physically, mentally, and have strong purpose and understand who you are and your relationship to your family, friends, and your community, is that what mental health is? Does that prevent suicide? I guess these are the things that have been driving me to write these values down, understand what Billy needed, and then start this up. So four things over the next week I want to talk about is, so the snake and the serpent on the staff is the medical system. So what we've been seeing with ACC New Zealand Rugby, what the foundation hopefully can help provide in terms of the medical aspect. Faith, how Jesus has helped me with understanding the relationship to resentment, frustration, and value. What's the most important thing in my life, and purpose and identity too. So there's a lot in that. The Peterson's Academy, I've been sharing heaps of things about Jordan Peterson. I've been watching him since 2016. I've learned so much through the Peterson Academy already. It's a online academy that has lecturers from around the world, and they get an opportunity to be in the academy. They do lectures series, 10 series lectures, and it's basically way cheaper and way more informative than the best universities in the world. And I guess that's something that hopefully we can have new releases in the foundation. I've got a projector set up here where if people are interested in learning and following the lecturers that present, we can create a community around finding some foundational sort of education on Western culture and our history without any bias towards groups or narratives. Zen crypto is something I've really been passionate about the last couple of years, and what I think I've seen and what the way the financial system's going. So I want to create some education conversation around what this is, what it's could potentially be, and with the room, I'm going to have display units on the walls that can help people see what the blockchain community is about. With it could be music, culture, writing, poetry, these types of cultural shifts that have been decentralized in financially, but also in the sharing of information. So decentralized around the world. It's not influenced by a small group. It's influenced by the culture of the people within the ecosystem. So these are four things, basically, what I've been using to try and grow as a person. And these have influenced me a lot over the last year, dealing with what I've been going through. And I think these can be four components of what people might find purpose and identity in. And obviously the brain treatment will be key, and mental well-being. I think it's all sort of correlated. So I think that's it. But so I suppose, yeah, I'll do a couple more videos over the next couple of days, but that's basically what I've been thinking about for the last 6 months, just roughly. And I know it's actually quite broad and there's a lot of information in there, but I think with the values, the what fundamentally makes a person whole is what we want to try and advocate for here. And if anyone wants to be involved or is keen to help guide me and help be a part of the community with Bill's family and close friends, it'd be awesome to connect.